This is a short story called Contradiction. It is also a moment in culture. In 1950, Joaquim Lopes was a poor sheep herder living in the mountains in northern Portugal. His brother had immigrated to the United States the year before, and Joaquim's dream was to follow his brother's footsteps. He wanted to escape poverty. The situation brings us up to many issues about the feelings that are culturally bound, feelings that relate to the segment of a specific society. It is a conflict, and also it is a real world. His loved one Judith had the same dream. They were going to be married, wait for a visa, and go to the promised land. While they waited, Judith washed floors for the well-to-do, and Joaquim tended his sheep. 1 year later, they were married, and they had their first son, Luis. Oh, they adored him. They felt that he was so blessed, and he was blessed by God. Such lovely, healthy child. He had brown eyes and soft skin. To them, he was a piece of gold. Finally, in 1953, the visa cleared, and they went off to America. Luis now had a future in this great land, and they were no longer to be poor. Their belongings filled only one suitcase, and most of the belongings belonged to Luis. All was good. The voyage across the sea on the Italian vessel Fortuna was a rough one, but who cared? America was now a dream come true, and Luis had a future. He was not going to be poor, like them, and when he got older, he could take care of himself. Maybe, again, they thought, he could go to high school, or even college. They both could retire and go back to Portugal, the land they loved. The years went by, and Luis grew up a good boy. He loved his parents and knew they cared for him. Because he was the only child, he never had to share his parents' love with his brothers or sisters. It was just Luis, his father, and his mother. Then in 1963, something dreadful happened. Luis came home one day to find his mother weeping uncontrollably. He knew something was awfully wrong. His father had a terrible accident at the construction site and lost an arm. Luis so shocked when he saw his father at the hospital. Joaquim looked frightened and confused, and he kept saying, my God, what happened to me?" Now Joaquim could no longer work and support his family. He could no longer give Luis the things he wanted, especially maybe a high school or college education. Joaquim knew that his son's grades were really the best in school. Time went on. Joaquim became more and more depressed and started to drink. He was now collecting workman's compensation, but it was barely enough for a weekly food. Judith still washed floors for the well-to-do, working 8 hours a week. What kept them both going was, of course, their son, Luis. No sacrifice was too great for them. He really was their future. He would not have to be poor like them. He knew English, and someday he was going to maybe high school or college, and maybe become someday an engineer. Joaquim kept on drinking to escape his depression. Sometimes he would get violent and say cruel things to Judith and his son. Luis became sad and wanted to escape. The pressure was too much for him. He saw his parents caught in a trap, a life at home. He was no longer happy. At 18, he saw his way out. He knew that his parents could not afford to send him to high school or even college, and he did not want to burden anything on them, so he joined the Marines. He could save money and maybe go to high school or finish high school and go to college. At the same time, he could learn a trade in the service. His parents never knew Luis' real feelings, and they were proud of him because he was now becoming a man in the Marines. They would miss him, but they knew that he would make his own life. Soon Luis was sent to Vietnam to war. 1 week later, he was listed as missing in action and presumed dead. Oh, his parents now, so sad. His parents wept and wept. Why did we come here? Why did we come to this damn land? His parents now decided to go back to Portugal. The dreams were no longer there. Memories of this great voyage and its great expectations were put away forever. Still, they had no malice. They believed it was God's plan. Louise's parents finally passed away. It is a story of contradiction, the dream, and also the sadness. It is again a moment in culture.